Non-conference scheduling is more important than ever before. We spent considerable time today talking about the importance of it. We talked about how successful this league has been from a basketball standpoint. It's something that we do, and been the very best over the course of the last 10 years. So in order to stay on that path, and Coach Sampson mentioned the SEC as an example and getting 14 teams in, we want to maximize bids. We want to maximize seeds. And non-conference scheduling is a huge component of that. We're moving from 20 conference games to 18 conference games. And so we spend considerable time talking about the importance of replacing those games with quality games that allows our conference to continue to thrive. Understanding that each of our teams has their own individual needs based on where they are in the process. But the importance of continuing to build our league through successful winning games against other leagues is something that we're really focused on.
So will you have a conference clash? I know you had the Big East last year. Is that going to happen again this season for the league?
We do not have a quote unquote, challenge like that on the books. But what we do is we have relationships with many of the other conferences around the country that we're continuing to work with. We work with all of our institutions on opportunities that may exist from a non-conference standpoint. Each of them also has their own connections, with institutions that they may want to match up with. But what they do know is the importance of how to build a schedule to build a resume that puts them in the best position to be NCAA tournament teams. And, these are two shining examples of scheduling in a way that puts you on a path for a number one seed or for a great seed in the tournament.
What went into the decision to go to 18?
Well, there's several factors that go into it. Playing 20 games is challenging, especially in a league like ours. The way that we had it previously constructed, there was no built-in buys in that schedule, and the schedule got very compressed. And when you're playing in the league as challenging as ours, understandably, our coaches wanted a little bit of an opportunity during the course of conference play to take a deep breath. And going to 18 games allows that. It allows us to have a built-in buy, and it's something that we feel like is important for the time being.
Did the analytics show that there was an increased chance of at-large bids, or did that go into it all, looking at what the SEC did?
Well, we've been at 18 games before, and going to 20 is something that we did for this past season. The SEC has, they play 18. The Big Ten plays 20. There's a variety of ways to do it. There's many ways to skin a cat. But what we do know is, what our conference does during the non-conference scheduling time is really what sets the stage for how strong our conference is going to be overall. The quality games that we schedule, the success that we have during that time will set the stage for if we're viewed as the number one, number two, number three conference in the country as we go down the stretch headed to March Madness. So our coaches are very committed to that process. They understand that non-conference scheduling is going to be kind of our bread and butter as we lead into conference play. And they'll do a great job of scheduling, because they do like the flexibility of playing 18 games versus 20. So they understand the importance of kind of maybe making good on some of those additional games that they can schedule on their own to ensure that we have quality non-conference schedules across the board.
Have those three teams that each schedule have home and away, have those been decided? And if so, what goes into deciding who's going to be the home and away matchups for a conference schedule for each team? Yeah,
definitely. When you go to from 20 games to 18 games, it certainly changes the dynamics of your conference schedule. We'll have 3 2-plays. There'll be 3 teams that you'll play twice, both home and away. That's something that we're currently going through the process of working through right now. Within the next week to 10 days, we should have that completed. But there's a lot of things that kind of go into that soup. You have to look at rivalries, geography, TV certainly has an impact, and then competitive equity. We're trying to put all those things into a pot and stir it up and come up with a reasonable set of matchups that give all of our institutions an opportunity to be successful, but also, creating made-for-TV opportunities that, our TV partners really want to see as well.